Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is our weekly real estate backstory. We do this every single week, where we kind of start off and go over the comings and goings in the real estate market, what we see happening, and we just kind of want to, jump right in here. My name is Alan Richardson. I'm the managing broker at Maximum Realtor Partners.
My name is Ming
I'm
Richardson.
talking really fast.
The compliance broker for Maximum One
Very good.
Realty and Realtor Partners.
All right, and we kind of want to kind of jump in. We got a lot of really great information to kind of share with you guys this week. And so, we kind of want to start off like there's a lot of economic information coming out, and so we kind of want to start sharing some of this information with you. And so, first thing is that the conference board, and who the conference board is. Conference board, these are the people that kind of they run the roost, if that makes any kind of sense when it comes to what's going on with recessions and all these other kind of things like that. And so they looked at another decline in December, and basically what this means is that, like, you can see that where we fall below that little red line, those are times and warnings of recession signals. And so we do feel that economic activity is on a downturn. And so we are seeing a lot more of that kind of happening right now. But we don't want you to be like crazy worried about it kind of thing, that kind of stuff, because it's not really that way. But we do need to kind of know that you are going to start hearing a lot of information about recessions going on. That being said, look what's happening with jobless claims. They're actually like pre-pandemic levels. We are really, really good. So employment, which is one of the big driving factors for real estate. Right. I mean, for real estate though, is jobless claims are really good. And so just because you hear recession doesn't mean that prices are going to fall, that the real estate market's going to crash, that kind of stuff. It does mean that we're going to start seeing a lot of moderating in the interest rates and things like that, which is really going to drive us a lot of our
and we'll see more of a balance, what I consider buyer and seller negotiating power. So it does not mean that the value of price of the home is going to drop. It just means that there's a little more negotiation in this field. And yes, seller, there's absolutely no more double-digit increase. Right now, we're running average 2 to 4% increase year over year.
Well, but what we are seeing some, and it's hard to tell on here. And so you can kind of see this is U.S. Across the United States. This is pending home sales. And so for pending home sales, it might look difficult to see. Pending home sales for the first time in months is trending up. Okay. Yes. So we are seeing pending sales, and I can speak for us personally here at the brokerage. We're seeing a pretty significant jump. Yeah. January 1 took right back off kind of thing. And so as interest rates are softening, and we're seeing that really equate into transactions.
All right. Well, October, November, December was a little softer than what the norm is. If you look at the historic trend, you can see it right there in the graph.
So wanted to share a really quick that there is some rail expansion planned for the Atlanta area. And so this is all, the rail expansions that are being planned across the US. That number 4 there. So they are looking at a direct connection between Atlanta and Dallas. There's already a 320-mile span that runs through Shreveport, Louisiana, and they're looking at turning this into commuter rail. And that's something that we feel could really kind of help. Anything we can do to help on traffic is going to be a real boost for us, kind of thing. I just found that interesting, and it's always good to kind of know what's coming on in our markets, kind of thing. There's a new study out which says that 78% of homeowners had regrets within their purchase of the last 12 months. And I don't dispute that, like that's true, but a lot of times we kind of we think, well, it's only because of during the pandemic people bought and weren't paying, but that's not really necessarily the case. There are, for those who had their regrets, like the biggies here are that they spent too much, that they bought too quickly, that their home requires too much maintenance. They bought a fixer upper. It goes all the way down to, I don't like my home, I don't like my neighbors, kind of thing. And so not all these are what you call buyer remorse, because even though we do see some buyer remorse, and I do think that we can help mitigate that. We have to understand that, overall, 86% of folks
who bought during pandemics
said that they had some regrets, but I don't, you know, like even when we bought we bought a new car, there's some regrets we have about that. We rehabbed one of our houses. To say that you don't have any regrets. So it is about 15% higher, 13% higher than what, like, traditionally it's 73% of people have regrets from buying a house
for whatever
that's
reason.
all the time. And so yes, 86% seems high, but 73% is like the norm. I don't say that to kind of be like, oh, well, we shouldn't worry about it. That's nothing we should be concerned about. But we need to really be working on our communication and really looking at what can we do to help, like when it comes to spending too much, I can't do a lot about that. But we are seeing prices leveling off and we're seeing interest rates come down. I bought too quickly. We can help educate folks about the
And that's the thing, is that
Yeah.
what it all comes down to on buyer's regret are 9 out of 10, the education. They
communication,
education,
communication.
and they don't
Yeah.
know what their options are. So therefore they're relying on you and what they're hearing in the market to help them navigate. But I can tell you right now, you know, wealth is built in home ownership.
Yeah.
So therefore, even though they may have bought too much, I can tell you down the line, they're going to be appreciative because that value is going to increase.
But they're looking to us to be the professionals to guide them through this. So education, communication, those are our big driving factors there. Interest rates tick down again. So we're continuing now. Now it wasn't a huge tick, like 2/100ths of a point, but hey, it's still trending down. We'll take it down.
That's a good thing.
So mortgage rates are trending down. And for the third week in a row, mortgage applications rose by 7%. So that's, you know, like really good news on the mortgage side. We're excited to see that kind of thing coming forward. They released 2023 FHA loan limits for the Metro Atlanta area, and so FHA loan limits are almost $600,000 now. It's a lot. So just to understand, you know, it used to be that was jumbo category kind of thing, or territory, and so
that's because the price appreciation has gone so much up in Atlanta, so therefore they are, you know, moving up along with the market demand.
Yeah. Now, would you like to know where people are moving from?
New York or something?
Yeah, New Yorkers, it really is. She already knew the answer, but so there's a new report which shared out there, like where is Metro Atlanta's housing demand coming from? So number one is from New York and New Jersey. New York, 32% of our out-of-state movers are coming out of New York, New Jersey. After that, it's Chicago. Then we have folks coming up from Miami and Fort Lauderdale, kind of like our branch manager here, the airport office kind of thing. And then we move over into the West Coast. So it's just interesting to know that, you know, a lot of our folks are coming from New York. And so that, you know, like if you have any kind of referral opportunities for anyone
if nothing else, if you want to know where to put some marketing dollars, that's where I would put it, honestly.
Absolutely. Now, how about internationally? Good question, right? Canada is the number one driver for folks moving into Atlanta. Canada is number one, followed by the UK, then Germany, then Australia, kind of thing. So
it's pretty cool up in Canada, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll complain about the weather, but yeah, that's really, really cold.
You think we had it bad back in December? Think about Canada. It was way up there.
So Ming and I had the opportunity to go into FMLS, they hosted a broker summit, and they had Selma Hepp, who's the chief economist for CoreLogic, and a really, really brilliant lady kind of thing. And we were really pleased to see, and she kind of gave an economic forecast, and then she gave it to us. And so we're going to share that with you as well. But the bottom line is she really validated everything we've been saying almost every week here. And we just want to run through that with you.
And this is pure on data search and historic data search. So this is not something that just came off.
Yeah. So first thing is that, you know, our economic growth is continuing to be stronger than what they expected. And so they are forecasting a recession in the first quarter, kind of like we've been talking about. It may move into the second quarter now, just because the economic conditions and our economic activity has been really strong. So because jobs.
Jobs and also supplies. So therefore, and the interest rate, they're hoping that, you know, the mortgage company will make some adjustment, because right now the gap between what is being loaned out to the mortgage company versus what the mortgage company charges.
Well, how about we show that?
Yeah, right
Okay,
there.
so
It's 2.7. Normally, the gap is much less than that.
normally the gap's like 1.7, 1.8. So we have an entire percentage point
Almost.
for interest rates to come
Right.
down as soon, and really that's being driven by inflation. It's also being driven by economic uncertainty from the lenders. The lenders are the ones who are kind of elevating that. So there's a good bit of spread built in there already. And so we're kind of, we want to see that number move down. And we really feel that, moving into the summer, we're going to see a lot of that. She backs up exactly what we were saying
Well,
on that.
the mortgage lender are feeling it right now, so as well. So, in order to sustain and also to make sure that they're not overdoing it, something has to be done, and they know that.
Yeah. At the same time, the largest age cohort, the way she put it, millennials are here, and they're the largest purchaser. It's the biggest population group, and they're all at first that they've just reached peak first time home buyer age. Over the next 4 years, this group of millennials is going to be prime to buy houses. And so we've seen that their percentage, their share of purchasing has moved up as it's kind of gone along. They're expecting it to increase even more so right there. So, and we're really glad to see that. At the same time, population continues to grow. Here in Georgia, we are number 8 or 7th or 8th in the US on states with the highest increase in population by 2030. So this is projecting for the next 8 years. What's population going to do? And Atlanta's going to grow by, or not Atlanta, Georgia's going to grow by 8%. So we've got more people moving into the state, lots of positive activity going on. We see interest rates going down.
And also, the governor has been promoting a lot of business co-op. So therefore,
it keeps employment down, right?
Keeps employment down. So unemployment down.
Yeah. Our first time home buyer share is at its lowest though. And so that's one thing that we know that's driven by the interest rates. It's driven by affordability. And so, but we also starting to see like our builders are starting to build a lot of townhomes now and things like that, trying to address some affordability issues.
You guys might want to think about, we do your buyer consultation to where, the new norm is townhome, just due to
we're seeing a lot more townhomes. Right. Yeah, we really are.
So the old thoughts of a 3-2 ranch, small 1,400, those are going to be hard to come by.
So you can see that this is, she went through and kind of shared with us kind of like what's happened with the demand. And we know that the demand for the past year has been fueled by interest rates, and that demand has really declined. The good news is that it's not as bad in Georgia. Yeah, we saw that tick, but if you took out 2021, we'd actually continue to be trending up. That's the interesting thing. Like when we compare ourselves to 2021 was an outlier. It was the freak.
It was.
Seriously, it was the bearded lady kind of thing. And so it doesn't fit in with all the rest. And so now we are on a very positive trend. So Georgia's sitting in a really good place for that right now. So it is down. Right now, one of the big challenges that she sees, and I agree kind of thing, is that the mortgage rates are what's killing us right now. 95%, she shared this, and I thought it was really interesting. 95% of mortgage holders have a loan less than 5%. And so it's really hard to say, hey, let's jump into a 6-7% loan when I have a loan that's 5 or less, right, kind of thing. And so, that's disincentivizing.
Well, if you look at it, 43% of the current holder has up to 3% interest rate.
Under a 3% mortgage.
So a lot of people did refi and a lot of stuff like that. So, they really are having, and one thing she did make analysis was if you are eligible for buying a $400,000 home at 3%, and now at 6%, you're eligible to buy a $275,000.
Yeah,
so
big
about
difference.
$125,000 drop because your monthly payment has to be the same.
Yep. Now, she also shared this, that competition is really returning to pre-pandemic levels. And same thing we've been seeing. We're moving into a more balanced market where the number of buyers and sellers more evenly match up. We're going to see much more moderate price increases. We're not going to keep seeing double-digit price increases. We're going to see more inventory moving on the market, and still well-priced homes in good areas are still going to move really, really quickly. And And so, the home price has continued
It's slow.
to slow down. We've seen this. Now, these are national numbers, and you can see that the forecast for the nation is that actually there's going to be a slight dip, and then prices are going to start moving back up. Now, the forecast for Georgia is markedly different. Like they're not looking at Georgia actually having a dip, and we agree. She's looking at Georgia, and we agree. Georgia and Atlanta should see a 4 to 5% property value increase over the next 12 months. And by the way, that is so healthy. It's not even possible. I mean, it's not even possible to explain. Like if you laid out like what's property value appreciation for the last 50 years, it's 4.4%. And so now we're looking at going into a year of 4.4%. Thank goodness we're moving into like, hey, normal days kind of thing. That's a really great place to sit. So home prices overall are down about 2.5 from the nationwide kind of thing. Now, one thing you'll notice about as far as like where the home prices are down, guess where they're not down?
Not in Georgia.
Georgia, right? Georgia's sitting in really
California, where the red marks you see, and Georgia, matter of fact, you see income.
We're in green. We're in greens. We got lots of greens, and we have a little bit less. So we've seen that kind of going on, and so Georgia's drops are from the 2022 peak are smaller than the national average, and so I thought that was a really great thing to see.
Here, some of the drops were area that the price has increased very aggressively, and you're seeing actually more growth in the southern part of Georgia.
So also they went through and listed all the markets that were overvalued. Guess who's not overvalued? Most of Georgia is not overvalued. We're in really, really good places there. In addition, basically the thing I want you to see out here, there's two really important data points on here. The average equity per mortgage borrower here in Georgia is $284,000. And at the same time, you can see that back in 2006, 2007, 26% of homes had negative equity. Right now, 2% in the entire nation. That's not a Georgia thing. That's a nation.
If you own a home back in 2010, your equity was 75,000. You own it as of today, your equity is around about 284,000.
Phenomenal, right?
It's almost $200,000 increase.
And so that 284, that was a national average. Here in Georgia, the average Atlanta borrower has almost $300,000 in home equity. So the Atlanta one's 267. There's different areas around the state, but statewide, the average equity gains for the average borrower in the state of Georgia is $234,000. So we're sitting in a really, really good place. At the same time, serious delinquencies, mortgages that are in serious delinquency are back to pre-pandemic levels. Actually, they're below pre-pandemic levels. So, the folks who are like, we're just going to wait for the foreclosure to hit again. They're going to be waiting like years, tens of years. It's not happening.
Well, not only that, they're competing with other buyers, investors as well. So it's not as like there's plenty inventory to go around.
Yeah. Now, the single family investors or investor activity is elevated. You can see where the U.S. investors nationwide is around 26%. Here in the Atlanta area, 34%. So, but we've seen that, we're probably the second largest group of investors in the nation after Phoenix kind of thing. So everybody wants to come into Atlanta. We're in the Sun Belt. There's a lot of really positive things.
Well, we're a major hub for any transportation, which helps.
But what's really interesting about that is when you really look at it, it's actually the small investors that are starting to make up the biggest share now. For a long time, it was those big mega investors that were really kind of owning, and their market share has been dwindling down, kind of thing. And so the small, the folks that we work with now, those are the biggest movers right here. At the same time, we're seeing single family rents decelerate. And so on one hand, I'm very pleased about this, because we need that having rents drop, because so many of our first time buyers come out of rental situation, that's a better place for them to be able to save money. I know that there's that whole rent versus buy question out there, but at the end of the day, the average renter's net worth is about $7,500 versus $280,000 for the average property owner. So it's not necessarily, we're not comparing apples to apples with that. So the other thing is decelerated rents is going to really help us when it comes around to those inflation numbers.
Right.
And so we've seen the exact same thing. So this is from Realtor.com. It shows that overall rents in the Atlanta area dropped by 1.7%. And you can see where that number has really been dropping kind of across the board. The Biden administration released, a tentative things they're calling the Renters Bill of Rights. And I'm interested to see where this goes right now. I mean, like, I don't think anyone should ever be like, oh, it's bad for the renters to have, like access to decent and affordable housing, clean and fair leases, and understand and have agencies and governments that are going to support them. What isn't in there is price fixing and
Right.
where the government steps in. There are some talk about that, so we're going to see where the kind of that goes. But overall, I'm all about.
Well, honestly,
more rights,
these bills has always been out there. It just depends on, who's utilizing them. As far as eviction resources, the government has made it very plainly about what resources are available. So, as far as information getting to the end user, that's a different story.
Now, in the commercial sector, we have some, there's a lot of, there's some new information I want to kind of share with you that came out of CoStar. And so job growth in the office sector is slowing, but it's still positive. And so that being said, we're seeing how this is shaping trends for residential real estate. So office activity, the number of office employees is not going down. But that being said, what do employees want to do? Well, the employers want them to come to the office more.
Right.
The employees don't want to come to the office as much. And so we're starting to see where the employers are giving in more and the employees are getting a little bit more rights and privileges and they have more power. Let's face it, because it's such a strong job market.
Well, and not only that, they create a monster when they kind of let everybody do telecommute. So therefore, and now people are set up, and as long as the performance
that shapes residential real estate. Remote work has doubled since 2011. And so, this is an emerging trend that I don't see. I mean, if you look at what remote work has done for the past 10 years, and you can see that this is going to continue to keep driving forward. And so for us on the residential side, that means that houses have to, we need Zoom rooms. We need places where we can work at home,
right.
Where we can have that kind of thing. And so to say that, the commercial side of things doesn't really affect us is not real because, this is a direct impact to us.
It does change the culture of the dynamics of a company. So when you can't see somebody face to face, it does make a difference.
Oh, absolutely. But at the same time, we're seeing where that demand for office space is down. So commercial, like in the commercial sector, office space and demand for office space is down. Now, what's not down is newer office buildings. So new office buildings, those are starting to get a lot more updated and that kind of thing. I want to change gears and so Showing Time, who's owned by Zillow, they have so we're in a test market here in Georgia, and we don't have any kind of personal affiliations with it, but there are some things that's coming out of this that I kind of wanted to talk about briefly. And so Showing Time / Zillow has started their own media service. And so, and what they're doing is they're doing some things that actually consumers have been asking for a long time. And so like their basics have where they put in a virtual tour, where the virtual tour is linked to actual photos. They actually have an interactive floor plan where they actually create a floor plan. And like one of the biggest demands that buyers have had, we want to see floor plans.
And how this,
and then they tie that together with a floor plan. You click on a room and it shows you the pictures in that room. And so I'm not saying, hey, go out and buy this. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is I expect to see kind of an evolution here on the residential side of real estate of, like what do consumers expect? What do we need? What do we need to be doing here, kind of thing? And what kind of services do we need to offer? How can we better showcase our properties? It's not the summer of 2021 where all you had to do was put it in the MLS, put a sign on the yard and a lockbox on the door and just pray about it. And that sucker was going to sell. That's not the market. And so we're going to have to make sure that we're paying attention to these kind of things.
Correct.
The United States,
The Department of Justice
thank
versus
you.
National
Take that over.
Association Realtors.
They dropped
Some
it.
good news. They dropped the lawsuit.
Yeah, it was the one that was mainly dealing with our clear cooperation policy. It doesn't mean they couldn't sue us again, but the lawsuit did get dropped right now. And so hopefully that.
Well, and this is why you see MLSs are making changes where there are advertising what the co-op commission is, so there's no mistake.
And there's no more saying I work for free. I
Right.
represent you, Mr. Buyer, and you don't pay me. That's wrong. That's not how this deal
that's
works.
why your buyer brokerage on your guard form
Yeah.
has changed to where it is a straight percentage now.
And then this week we have our relaunch of 25-hour post license training that's happening in person in our airport office Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the next 2 weeks. And then we have lead generation in today's market, which is virtual here today. We also have real estate marketing technology secrets on Wednesday, that's virtual. And then on Friday, we have business planning for the real estate professional that's virtual. In addition to that, on Thursday over in our Fayetteville office, we have mastering appraisals, and that's a really great class from DS.
You guys, we're seeing some appraisal issues, so this will be a great class for you to go to. So to take advantage of it.
Thank you guys. Have a great week. We hope that you guys are
have a
really
fabulous
productive.
Monday.
All right, bye.